Hello, TJ Schwartz here. Welcome back to the Edge and Flow podcast. I'm here with Lucas Burnley. This is our quarterly update. For those of you
Jeez.
that have been waiting for an episode, we went from weekly updates to quarterly. Not intentionally, but yeah, here we are. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad we're doing this. Yeah, summer. That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah,
I think the goal is to get back on like some kind of normal weekly cadence. It's really easy when we're doing it. It just like, man, coming into summer, it just like dropped off.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a good balance for that with the summer because I love doing the pod. I think it's an important part of
yeah,
just our lives, even if it wasn't recorded,
same.
So Um, but we kind of have a family motto. I always talk to the kids about work hard, play hard, which is super cliche, but
Yeah.
and in the summer we work our 410s and I try to just cram the 410s, just run hard for 40 hours and then disappear for the weekend and just play hard all weekend. And we
Yeah.
try to just maximize summer because we do live in Idaho where in the high country, the beautiful places you want to be, summer is short.
Right.
So we always try to squeeze every last drop out of it, which we have been. I'm happy about that, but it does leave us with this podcast that kind of gets sidelined,
Pushed to
which
the
is
side.
unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been on the flip side, which is like this whole year has basically just been growth. And so I'm running a schedule that is like like 6 10s, seven,
Yeah.
sometimes 7 10s. And
Yeah.
then right now Maddie and the boys are actually on vacation. I'm here because we've got basically projects and employees. So
Mm,
it's like the flip side and it it's like just in pieces. So I'm hopefully that's starting to level out. But yeah, man, it's just schedules. This is the self-employed
yeah.
game. Good on you for
Yeah.
making the weekends count right now, man. Usually we're good about that, but just this year we've done kind of like I think built too much almost
Yeah. Well, it's okay to
to get out of it.
sprint sometimes because
Yeah.
I've done that.
That's what
That's
it feels like.
part of this summer is like the kids are 3 and 5, and I'm like the last couple summers, or honestly, most of the summers with the kids, we've been renovating the house or
Yeah.
doing this or that. And I'm like, this summer, this spring, I kind of decided I'm like, that's going to stop. The summer is going to be, it's going to be for the kids because at 3 and 5, you fast forward six
Yeah.
or 7 years even, and it's
Yeah.
like things are going to be changing. So we got to do it now.
Yeah. It
So we,
starts to
we,
be like core memories,
yeah, yeah.
you
So
know.
we kind of sold out for just weekends are going to be a good time. So, and speaking of good times, we
Yeah.
just got back last weekend from a trip to the coast where we went to PNWCI. We saw you, saw a bunch of great people. So part of this podcast, we got to recap that.
Totally, man. Well, and you went as an attendee, just
Yeah, yeah,
walking the floor,
yeah,
right? Which is pretty great.
yep. For kids' first time at the ocean, that was one of the boxes we wanted
And
to check.
first show.
And first show,
So
yeah.
it's pretty good.
Mm.
What'd they think of the ocean, man?
Dude, they loved it. Delta came back this week, and I was at work yesterday, and she spent most of the day drawing pictures of the beach
I
with like
love
her
it,
whole
man.
family and stuff in the water, and like we have some photos of like because I wanted to show them out in the surf, like where the waves are pretty good, so I was holding them
Yeah,
by the wrist so that they could go out there and get like hit by a wave pretty
right.
hard, and I could hold them. And she drew a picture of that, which is just like I don't know. You could tell
Dude,
it just stuck in her head.
that's magic, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and so in that you guys were RVing
yeah,
also,
yeah,
which is like a pretty big it's like a pretty big upgrade.
yeah, yeah. It
So
worked great, except for one night. Uh, Real fast story time. The
dude, lay it out.
night before the show, we unfortunately found ourselves in a position where we were not allowed to be camping. It's kind of a long story. I maybe won't go into it, but we got ejected from our campsite at about 1 in the morning and had to drive for half hour looking for another spot. Ended up we were not in Seaside. We were in Cannon Beach when we got kicked out. We had to go to Seaside to try to find somewhere. Terrible night's sleep. I mean,
Of
worst
course.
night's sleep that I can remember. And then we went to the show. So it was the show was amazing. I loved it. we had to leave the show and take a nap because all four of us were pretty much glassing over, and honestly I could barely form sentences, so I had to go just take a power nap. Came back, coming back to the show, that's
Rallied.
when I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
Dude, Wilson was like the embodiment of
yeah,
I think how all of you were filming. His like eyes are like rolling back in his head.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah. Dude, getting rousted is no fun. That happens, but yeah, not
yep,
just shocking to like be woken up in the middle of the night, like by the police and be like, you can't be
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
It was interesting. I mean, I get it. I totally
Yeah,
understand. I don't blame
totally.
him, but it's rough in the moment. It's
Yeah.
definitely rough.
Nice.
But
Yeah. And I was on the flip side of actually doing the show. PNWCI is like obviously now it's like my local show, which is what I consider it, right? Which is awesome. Small show, punches way above its weight, and it has since the very first one. And a lot of that is just due to Nick and Billy and their relationships in the industry.
hmm
Um, like Billy put on that first show in Portland and basically just invited friends.
hmm
And he just had like a really good group of makers. And
yeah,
so like you look at the roster and it was shocked that first year, you're like, whoa, this is like kind of a who's who, you know?
yeah. And I really like just it's just for whatever reason, it's the people that I often like hanging out with at like the big shows that
Yeah.
just so happen to be at this show.
It's
It's
kind of a distillation,
people that
right?
I'm
Like you
close
walk and you're
friends
like, you
with.
know, everybody in the room for
Yeah,
the most
it
part.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that about it.
Pretty good. They do a good job of like bringing in some new makers. So Billy is firearms industry too. So he was from a company called Rifle Dynamics and then went through Radian and now has Ironborn Armory, which is his own deal,
Mm,
and basically builds custom AKs, right? Like one
wow,
MOA, sub MOA AKs, and they're awesome.
wow.
Side note, Tom Krein and I actually went out like 3 days before the show and did an AK class with Billy where
Oh,
we built rifles
whoa.
from parts, and it was freaking awesome. The only thing I can say is like if putting an AR together is like building a computer kind of, uh building an AK is like restoring an old car. There's a
Yeah,
lot of like
yeah,
grinding and hammering and like 20-ton presses. Like it's things that on a machine side like don't make so you're like this is not precise.
yeah.
It's a lot of problem solving. It was so fun.
That's amazing.
And then you get to go run them and they like you're like, oh, this thing like runs and
Yeah,
oh, it's awesome.
yeah.
So
Bury it
that
in the
was
sand and pull it back out and
dude,
probably run just as good.
so good. I didn't even like I didn't send you pictures of like the
I
class or
didn't
like
even
what
know
we
that.
were
Yeah,
building or anything.
that's cool.
Yeah, I would highly recommend anybody that hears this, if you get a chance to do a class with Billy, I would definitely do that. Like get to go. He's one of the top, I think, AK builders in the country. Like the stuff is just super high quality,
Mm-hmm.
super reliable, accurate. It gave me a new appreciation for AKs,
Mm-hmm.
which was really fun. Also, it's one of those things, man. Like I told him in the class, I did a forging course a couple 7 years ago or something now, but I left and I was like, I feel like I'm a better craftsman,
Mm,
right? This felt the same way where like mechanically you're just looking at pieces and you're like, okay, you're problem solving and
yeah,
like Tom built one. It's like it had names carved in the stock, like his guy's
yeah.
girlfriend's name. Like they're off of like a battlefield somewhere. They demill the rifle, right? So they like basically cut the receiver, cut the barrel. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things you're doing is mounting the original parts inside of a US made receiver to a US made barrel. But
Mm-hmm.
the receiver is like generalized. It's not like a mil spec part. Like AKs have been made all over the world. There's all these
Yeah,
idiosyncrasies. And so you're doing weird stuff and like shaping and like even sometimes like filling in holes with like weld
yeah.
and it's wild.
One thing that's cool too is it has the aspect of the kind of multi-medium going on where it's got the sheet
Yep.
metal.
Yep.
which sheet metal is a totally different ball game than like a billet part.
So different.
And I love sheet metal work. Honestly, I for
Dude,
quite a
you
while
would
I helped a local
love
company.
this. You would
That'd be
love
cool.
this. Actually, also like for you, that's a modeling project that would probably be pretty interesting because you have
Yeah.
that sheet metal background.
Mhm.
I don't know,
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Also, see, you're like messing with this sheet metal receiver, and it's all flexy, and
Yeah.
this is thin. Then you start to like rivet it together, right, with a 20-ton press, and like just basically like steel rivets, and you're like instantly it goes from like this floppy thing to just super rigid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really impressive. Like you start to see like, oh, like where these like, stamped supports are put in, and it's cool.
I think all the time about what products we can make that are sheet metal based, either press braked or like
Yeah.
stamped or something, because I just enjoy it. It's such an efficient way to manufacture. And you can make really cheap, kind of lousy stuff with that. But excuse me, that's where creativity and design comes in with sheet
Yeah.
metal, is you can make it so much more than it is, which I think that's kind of fun about it.
There's a level with stamping that I think, especially for certain tools, feels really good. Right? It's like
Yeah.
not overly done. Well, you saw that. I've got one. You saw this, right? The knife that
Yeah.
Boker just
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. That's a perfect example.
It's a perfect example. So it's called the bifold, and it's basically just one piece of sheet metal folded
Yeah.
over, and that is what makes the body. And like I keep carrying one of these, and it's the same thing where I'm like, man, there's a lot of like personality to it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not as precise, like it's not super finished.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
that was a huge digression, like pre-show, pre-show. But dude, that was the most fun I've had going into a show, I think, ever. It was so nice just to like hang out with Billy and Tom, not doing knife stuff, but like I think the day we built the rifles, we did like 16 hours in the shop, just like hanging
Yeah.
out, like
Cool.
yeah, good
So
stuff.
normal day in the shop for Tom.
Yeah, man, coming into the show, I realized too, like just what a shift that is. So the last 2 days before the show, I know I worked 18 hours, and then I worked 19
Whew.
hours. After the 19-hour day, I worked a 12-hour day and drove to Portland. And you're
Whoa.
like, this is not ideal, but show prep this year, like again, it's summer. I did a lot of work, pre-work, but then like the finishing stuff, I really tried to go super hard on like kind of what I was taking, because this is the only show I've done this year, and might be the only one that I do, and I just wanted to like bring
Yeah.
like really fun work.
Yeah.
But man, those last days, it's a
That's a push,
lot.
man. That's a
Yeah,
big push.
it's a big push. So yeah, what else about the show? This is your first time there, so like observations, I'd be curious to hear.
Observations. I love Seaside, the town.
Yep.
The coast is obviously the coast, but Seaside, we did quite a loop. So we saw a lot of towns. I really came to like Seaside in particular. It's more laid back. Some of them are a little bit more guarded about parking and camping. And
Yeah.
like,
So like
obviously, there
Cannon
was the
Beach is a
incident.
great example.
Yeah.
Like it's a little more upscale, it's a little smaller town. It's like higher end beach community,
Yeah.
right? Smaller.
Hmm.
Seaside's cool because it almost feels like, I don't know, like 80s like beach town.
Yeah. Well, and
Kind of like
it's like a real town. It's not
a real town.
strictly
Yeah.
for, entertainment and
Right.
visiting. It's like a
Yeah.
town. So they have, we went and let the kids play on the playground at the school there. Like they have a really nice, I think it was probably a high school.
Yep.
And it's just like it's a cool town. You could envision living there, whereas most of those towns I really couldn't.
Yeah.
So I like Seaside. That's part of it. And then the event center is really cool. Really nice facility right there, close to the beach. So overall, the environment is probably the best of any show that I've been to. It's hard to beat that.
It's pretty
The
great. Yeah.
the show itself, it's like it's small in a good way in that it feels a little bit like Maker Syndicate, but even
Okay.
smaller.
Yep.
because you can go in there and you can have like these circles of makers discussing things, and it's like you can almost be at your table and still talk to quite a few people, it
Yeah.
appears. You know what I mean? Because it's small enough that it's like very social show,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of the shows are not very social if you're the maker, because
Right.
you're just sort of in a sea,
Yeah.
and you may have like one guy to your left, one guy to your right you can kind of talk with, but they're, especially a couple hours in, it's just like kind of I don't know, like a social just sort of environment, and
Yeah.
people are talking about cool things and a lot of interesting people, like I said before, a lot of people that I normally hang out with anyway. I immediately wanted to come back. My wife was with me. That was her, not her first show, because I think she went to like a Blade Show West or something way back, but she loved it and she wants to go back. So
It's
overall,
a
just
family show. Like that's
yeah,
the okay. So where Blade Atlanta is awesome. Like one of the biggest things about Blade is the pit.
yeah,
And unless you've gone, it almost doesn't translate. But that social event is so important to the overall weekend. This
hmm,
show, you're basically just in like you're at the beach for it, right?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
mean, the close of the show is like, Nick and Billy have a beach party, like a bonfire. There's always some kind of barbecue. And it's like a perfect kind of like finale for the show. But up until that point, like everybody comes in early and you're just tucked into this little town where it's like you can go out to like breakfast or you can go have lunch or grab a beer, go to a bar.
hmm,
Or, like a lot of people are coming in, starting to now come in from like the East Coast and stuff. It's like you can drive down and like see like Haystack Rock or, do something in Portland the day before.
hmm,
It's really impressive because it's not the most convenient show to get to if you're coming in from away. But I kind of love that because if you go, it's worth it, right? But you have to fly
hmm,
into
hmm,
Portland and then drive out to the coast, which is like an hour and a half,
yeah, yeah,
But no, man, I'm this year was really, really fun. Just it's like a good vibe show. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's the best way to describe it for sure.
Yeah, right size. The convention center is really good in that like it doesn't feel cramped. It's easy, it's super easy access, like basically surrounded by hotels, but it's still small. And the show is 6 hours. So,
Hmm,
as a maker, like you get these different show vibes where like Blade Show is like, as far as I'm concerned, kind of like a must do from an industry and networking
hmm,
standpoint. Um, then you go to like the 2 day shows, right? And then you have these, 4 hour, 6 hour shows. So you have Maker Syndicate, you have, the Kentucky show, which is Kicks. You have Seaside now, um, and I think it's really good just to kind of spread out the type of show you do as a maker because each
hmm,
one of
hmm.
them provides a different kind of insight or I don't know, like just value inside
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
industry, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. Which is it. This show kind of kept bringing Maker Syndicate to my mind, because I think
yeah.
Maker Syndicate is similar kind of vibe, and I don't know if that's going to happen again. I know it was put on
I
hiatus at the
heard
very
people
least.
talking about it and it
Yeah,
sounded like because it's Oz Machine Works, right? That puts
yeah,
it on.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
sounded like they're like building a new shop or
yeah,
setting something new up and they
yeah.
took
Building
a
a building.
pause this year and then are bringing it. I heard a bunch of people say they're bringing it back
I
next
hope
year.
they bring it back. Yeah, because that was up there with PNWCI as far as the environment and the size of
And it
it
was
and just the
bigger.
people is bigger. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
How many years did they have that?
Probably like only three, maybe,
That's what
or
I was thinking,
something.
something like
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah.
And where is it?
Indianapolis, downtown.
Indianapolis. It's great too because it's almost another wild card as far as location,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Place
the
would I'd be unlikely to go there just randomly. So to
right.
have a show, just that like quadrant of the country, like the Midwest,
Yeah.
I haven't spent any time there. And so just going there, it's a nice city, really clean city. It's got, the stadiums and the race car tracks, and everywhere you
Yeah.
go, there's race cars. It's like that they call it the racing capital of the world and all that. So there's just so much there beyond just the show, and it's just a nice town. So definitely worth
That's pretty
going.
good. Well, I think for a while the shows were really they were like the institutions almost,
Hmm.
right? So you have like the California shows, you have the Las Vegas shows, you have shows in New York, Atlanta. And it seems like there's a shift that happened where some of those shows kind of like split. Like now there's two CCKS, there's a spring and a fall. Tied in with those, there's like the Friday Night Blade affair. There's,
Hmm.
Nick's kind of spread out a little bit. And where did they go? Geez, now I can't actually think of where the second show went, but Nick's is back, right? Which is
Hmm.
Jersey City. But then these smaller things kind of started to pop up, right? And like
Hmm.
Blade, Texas was originally the ICCE show, which was like a Western symposium,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then it kind of like split off from that. That's become like a really strong contender. Um, for me, I'm noticing like I love these shows that feel like Blade Texas feels like Blade Atlanta when I first started. It's smaller, but it has like a similar kind of vibe to it. And then
Hmm.
I think Seaside, PNWCI almost feels like early USN,
Mm.
where it's just like
Yeah.
real strong community, like, you know, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Show culture is thriving.
It really is, man. You're doing Blade West, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so that's your next
October
spot,
10th.
October
Yep.
10th. Okay.
We
Nice.
can drive down to that. I already got everything booked up, ready
Dude.
to go. That's gonna be fun. I love that show.
Th- That's becoming more important to me. I think over the next few years, just like with the kids and where I'm at with schedule and work, like shows that I can drive to, I think become really valuable. So I'm basically looking at one, like maybe one show where we fly and then one of the California shows and PNWCI is kind of like the rotation. If we can get to a point where product is more consistent, right? And I have this is also really important too, which is I think product should be tailored to the show a little bit. Like
Hmm.
the value of one of the values of like Blade Atlanta is just volume, right? So
Hmm.
if I'm going to have
Yeah.
5 folders, doesn't always it's not always the right venue for that. If I've
Hmm.
got a run of like a special edition Kihoku or something, then you're like capitalizing on it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I think that output will dictate some of that, but right now, man, like just the ability to jump in the car, even if it's a 13-hour drive,
Yep.
it just feels like less overall stress and logistics.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
What other updates? So this we literally haven't recorded in 3 months.
mhm.
Um, what just like shop updates on your side? Like, are there any shifts or have you guys just been stable?
So we've been relatively stable from a bird's eye view. There's been one, I guess you could call it a battle we've been fighting, which is on the bevel grinding side. We started bevel grinding the Overland Sport the second that machine landed, and it went extremely smoothly and it was pretty effortless, and it built up a ton of confidence in the grinding.
Right.
Um, which was awesome because that was a knife that we sell a lot of and we needed more efficiency. But then we tried to grind the full size Overland. And so a couple months in, we converted that model over, and it's given us some headache for sure. It's a
Really?
lot taller bevel, it's a lot longer bevel, it's a thicker blade. It's just as far as total volume of steel being ground off, it's probably like 4 times higher than the Sport.
Got it.
And so we've been having this like anomalous burning problem with it, and really just chasing all avenues of feeds and speeds and stuff to try to get it not to do that. And we probably scrapped like 25 of them trying to get this to work. And it's weird because it's like we'd get three or four that are good, and we'd think, okay, we finally nailed it. Then it would burn. So we change another setting, do something else. Three or four would be good, another one would burn. And we decided to basically we did a few things. We tried to increase coolant delivery. We worked on using through spindle coolant, and then we decided actually the better way to do it was the Sile X9 has a washdown feature, so it's got another pump that's the same as the flood coolant pump
Okay.
that sits there, and it all it does is spray the floor of the enclosure when you're
Right.
running. And that's for like if you're machining aluminum, like billet aluminum, you end
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
with
Just
like massive
flushes.
piles. And we don't run it because we don't have chips. It's grinding. So it's all just if you look at what's coming off, it just looks like coolant. It's not until it settles that you see the grinding
Right.
debris in it. And so that pump's been sitting there idle. What we did is we routed it to the table. So we have two table mounted jets that spray coolant up inside the wheel. So when the
Okay.
wheel comes down over the part, there's the jets aimed inside of it, and then the wheel's spinning and it's an inverted cup. So you have the spinning of the wheel creating like this almost little hurricane cyclone of the
Right.
coolant that's jetted up into it. And so that way when it comes down and grinds, you have the flood coolant coming from the outside and then the this new flood coolant on the table coming from the inside. And we finally got it to work. I think we've run enough overlands now to where it
It's
appears to be
consistent.
successful.
So the through spindle coolant, you are running it and it's not enough.
So the through spindle, we were working on developing how to deliver coolant using the through spindle because you have to engineer some sort of like
Nut with a
spraying nut. Yeah.
nozzle, basically.
And so we were kind of halfway done with doing that. And just out of curiosity, I wanted to try something, which is the hoses coming from the through spindle pump
Yep.
are the same as the hoses going to the flood coolant pump or the flood coolant delivery. So I was like,
Okay.
what if we, because the through spindle is a way bigger pump, way more pressure and volume. And I
Right.
thought, real quick, let's just actually hook the through spindle pump to the flood jets so that we get
Right.
like two or three times as much pressure. And I was like, that actually might do quite a bit. And I just wanted to test it while we're
And
working
it's
on the,
working. So you haven't
well,
actually used through
no,
spindle.
so we haven't used through spindle, but here's what
Okay.
happened. We ran this high pressure pump and we liked it. And it did seem like it was delivering more cooling. But the catch was that pump is so big and it had to build so much head pressure because it's trying to pump's engineered to build
Uh,
pressure because it's
right.
trying to press normally it would be pressing through like a drill or
Right.
something. And so it's all about pressure, not about volume. And so it's basically building head pressure, which generates a lot of heat in the coolant. And so in one day of running that pump through the flood coolant jets, it heated up our coolant like unbelievably. I mean, when you open the door of the machine, it was like opening a sauna. It was like pure heat coming out.
Whoa.
And like everything was moving around tolerance wise and stuff. And so basically we looked at it and we're like, well, we could run through spindle, but it's going to build even more head pressure and even more heat when it's pushing it through smaller jet holes. And so it's not a deal breaker. You could work around that, but that was when I kind of started to get a little more creative and thought about if you're running a
Mm-hmm.
much smaller pump and flooding it inside the wheel from the table, I think you're getting more coolant delivered, quite a bit more volume with way less head pressure because it's not backed up trying to pump it through like small channels. And so we're getting, I think, more coolant with almost no noticeable heat buildup. And so the through spindle, I actually think, at least for now, is not necessary. And I would not have bought it if I had known this solution would work. So that's
You
kind of
don't
where
know
we're
what
at.
you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Crazy. Okay, that's good to know. We're like, that's that's kind of the next stage. Maybe not the next stage. I've got to do the next round of changes to the Kihoku. And then we're trying to get the turn back online. My biggest push is to get the second machine running. So that's kind of like the immediate need. So now that the show is done, like I went and I put coolant in the machine yesterday and did like a warm up cycle and just like starting to try to like force myself to like acknowledge that I have a
yeah.
machine sitting in a
Yeah.
room not being
Hmm.
used. Um, Yeah. Okay. That's like a lot of development though on your side. And that with any of this stuff that we're doing, it's so hard sometimes because you'll get it to work in an area and then it won't work when you change
Yeah.
something.
Yep. Yep.
And then you have to figure out like, oh, okay, what changes this?
Yeah.
Like what shifted? And there's not like a manual for it.
Yeah. Well, what I kind of like about it though is the Overland was going to test the full size Overland was going to test the limits of cooling. And cooling is basically the metric by which you're going to know how fast you can grind because
Right.
it's the speed with which you can grind is purely how fast you can cool it.
Yeah.
That's really the simplicity of it. And so the beauty of it is we've worked so hard on keeping the Overland cool that now like the Overland Sport is now
No
benefiting.
problem.
And so
Right.
the next move, we just wanted to get everything stable first, but the next move now is to start to speed up the grinding of the Sport because now we know we have like twice as much coolant delivery and it never had
Right.
any issue with half that much coolant. So I believe we'll be able to like just lower cycle times on the other models because we just I assume we now have twice the cooling. We should be able to go faster. So the benefit of having the Overland give us issues is we just improve the overall process. So it's good to know.
Yeah.
One thing I
Frustrating in the
wonder,
moment though.
yeah, it's been annoying. Scrapping that many knives has been
Yeah, it's
really
hard.
frustrating. And but the one of the things I think might be happening, I can't guarantee this, but we're doing a really shallow grinding where the blade is only tipped down 2 degrees. And
Right.
so it's trying to put basically a flat grind on it.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of times you'll see these cup wheel grinds where they'll tip the tip down either
They're
5
hollow.
or even 10, 15 degrees and do a
Yeah.
true hollow. I don't
Yeah.
know, but it might be that you get less heat buildup when you're at a more aggressive angle of attack like that.
Well, you
I
just
don't
get
know.
more aggressive grinding. I would say 100%. And that
Yeah.
translates to a belt grinder too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you have a smaller contact patch,
Yeah. Yep. It's
right?
more
And so
concentrated. Yeah.
more concentrated, but also more coolant getting in,
Yeah. Yeah.
probably.
Probably.
Um, this is maybe a silly question, but did these wheels theoretically, like if you were able to have it stay cool, do these wheels need to run wet?
Yes. I think
Okay. So they do need to run wet.
uh
You couldn't run like where I was thinking was we've been using a cold air system for hard milling.
yeah.
Basically
Yeah.
like a sub-zero airflow.
Yeah. I
I
think
just
if you didn't
wonder.
have a complete
Yeah.
submersion in coolant, you would
Yeah.
start a fire like
You'd
in
start it
one
just
second.
going.
Because if you feel the abrasive, it's
Yeah.
extremely it may be a high grit or like a
Right.
large grit technically, but it's compacted into what feels like basically a piece of stone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
like
a stone.
ceramic.
And so it doesn't have ejection capability like what like a 60
Yeah.
grit
Yeah.
belt
Yeah.
does. It
Got it.
doesn't have the ability to eject heat at all. It's like taking the feel having done some hand grinding is like a 400 grit belt
Right.
going straight to steel with like tons of pressure and
Right.
not taking it off the belt. That's
No,
basically
yeah.
what's happening,
It's
and it's like
terrifying. You really
it's going to
need, yeah.
completely incinerate. Because like for
Well, and it's like
example, I know
surface grinding, like people dry surface grind. Like, and that's amazing to me, but it is just a function of the grit of the wheel, your
yeah,
feeds and speeds,
yeah,
and there's like
and
if
it's
you're a good surface grinder, you can grind dry.
yeah, and part of it's the like on a surface grinder wheel, you do a really really coarse dress
You do a coarse
because if
dress,
you're
yeah.
seeing sparks, that's awesome. Sparks mean the heat is leaving; it's
Right.
not staying on the part.
On the part.
Whereas you're not generating sparks with these CBN wheels because
Right.
it's such a fine grit and it's
How are other people dealing with the cooling problem? Well, one, most people are doing a hollow. So
yeah, most
there's
people doing hollow,
that's different, right? You can't
most people
compare the
doing through spindle
results.
coolant,
Yep.
uh, and part of it is just the steel too. It's 64 Rockwell MagnaCut. So as far as I haven't ground anything else, but I would bet you it's other than maybe 3V, it's one
Right.
of MagnaCut at that hardness is very hard to grind. So
You're asking a lot out of the
yeah,
steel. When Chris Reeve was doing it originally, what were they running, like S30?
I don't know
Probably.
when the grinding came in relative to the
Right.
steel, because
Right.
S35 probably came after the grinding. You're probably
Right.
right. So it's probably S30 and maybe some A2 as well.
Yeah. A2. Yeah. Okay. So same thing. Like, yeah, because I was thinking if you're doing this on like CPM 154,
Yeah,
you're getting a different
yeah.
result,
And one thing
you
is
know?
like Nitro V and ABL, they hard mill so well
Yeah.
that I wonder how that would translate to this to grinding, because they're not equivalent, grinding and hard
Right,
milling.
man. So I'm running Nitro V Kihokus right now, and I'm hard milling them. And I sent you a picture. Like there's chatoyance on the
Yeah,
bevel,
yeah,
um, and you're like it just mills beautifully.
yep,
I bet that steel would take grinding pretty well. I'll probably try it. Like
yeah,
I like jumping around a little bit, and so I think that for me, especially with all this stuff that I'm kind of learning, I'll probably try that.
yeah, yep. Yeah, I'd like to mess with grinding some other steels. I know it's a big difference. Grinding is one of the things that will really reveal the difference in steels, different
Yeah,
hardnesses and different alloys.
yeah,
Milling like not necessarily hard milling, but like soft milling steel.
yeah,
I think the window of how different they are is smaller.
yeah.
Because yes, 3V is going to be harder on tools than,
Yeah, like we see it with magnet cut,
154.
soft milling magnet cut. It's still like you still notice it.
It's more
Wear goes
difficult.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but when you harden it and you start grinding it, that's where it's
yeah,
like, whoa, yeah, there's a huge difference because the wear resistance kicks in with that hardness, and you get like 3V, and 3V is not a high wear resistance steel, but that I guess suppose the toughness. I've just heard
yeah,
3V in general is one of the hardest to work with when it comes to grinding, but
yeah.
that's not
Grinding and
my own
finishing, like most
experience.
things grind easily low grit, and then you just in the finishing,
Yeah,
that's where it
it just
really
won't
that was
take
like
it.
S35 VN2. You start to like need different
Yeah,
processes.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
that's been your big thing. What do we got?
yeah. How about you?
Ours, yeah, man, it's just been working through production stuff, trying to get employees up to speed and processes improved. And then having like minor setbacks, like just little stuff, like all of a sudden my computer, I've got like a little NUC that can't be upgraded and it
Yeah,
stops my graphics stop processing Fusion 360 or it's like these little minor things. Um,
yeah. So can I pause real
yeah,
fast?
yeah.
I'm having a bit of an allergy
Allergy. So
situation. I gotta
go,
go
yeah.
blow my nose or something.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And
All right.
then kind of show we were pushing really hard for it, Blade Atlanta, and I just got to a point where I realized that like we're starting to like fight an uphill battle, and it just got to the point where I realized like it would have cost too much time to make it work and I wouldn't have been happy with the results. And so again, man, it's like we can do anything kind of, but not everything. And it was a really
Yeah,
hard gut check of just like
yeah.
I I was in a position where I had put too many things in motion to be able to
Mm-hmm.
follow through on that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's been a really interesting year because I mean, look, it's like we added the new property, we added the new machine, we added two
Employees.
employees, and
Yeah, that's huge.
that's insanity.
It is.
Like any
Yeah.
one of those things would have been enough to mess with my schedule and output. And I just
Yeah.
realized I'm like, that's why like right now, Maddie and the boys are on vacation is just, I realize I'm like, I'm not willing for them to lose like a big chunk of summer just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm like bogged down. And it feels really
Yeah.
good to be able to do that. It's frustrating because I'm like, I would like to be with my family right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's kind of the goal. Like right now, Seaside was kind of the dividing line where now I don't have anything on the books and I can just do internal work.
Yeah.
So the focus shifts fully to getting the machine running, improving processes, and then this show is actually really helpful because I made some small changes to how I was getting ready for it. I kind of thrive on the chaos of show prep
Hmm.
creatively, but
Hmm.
it's also really hard because it becomes kind of all encompassing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when what I figured out, I was telling somebody this years ago. I saw a picture from Kit Carson, and he had like these Tupperware bins full of like 80% folders. Like, so this would be like the blades are fit open and close, and like the handle scales and bolsters are fit, but it's not contoured, not ground. If I was at that point, that's almost where show prep should start, not
Mm-hmm.
machining parts to finishing. And so I
Hmm.
think what I'm going to do is basically try to get to a point where I can a show, kind of like, okay, I know that I'm going to want to take like 5 folders and 25 side pops and 10 fixed blade or something like that, and just get all of the rough work done and set them aside.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, man, I don't know. It's just like you
Like
said,
put it in a glass
summer.
case with a hammer. It says like break in case of emergency.
Yeah,
And
breaking
then,
case of show.
yeah,
Like but that's honestly that's kind of how it feels, because usually, like, dude, I mean, 2 days before the show, I was still machining sci pops. Like the folders were done, which I felt really good about, but I was like modifying and like doing customs. And I was like, this is I can't at that point, I can't separate. It's like I can't really run short modification programs on the CNC and be doing finishing. And so I'm like, I get stuck where I'm like, okay, right now I'm running parts and I'm losing time. It's like, I'd rather just be full creative finish mode or full machine mode. And that's right now I'm noticing it because I'm in a little bit of manager mode. Um, and it's an interesting flow because I'll like get really hooked into something that I'm doing, and then somebody will need something, or they'll
hmm,
finish a job and I'm like, oh, okay, I got to find something else for you to do. And that's just like right now, I was telling you before we jumped on, like everybody is kind of a Swiss Army knife employee. Like you've got to be able to do multiple things, and there's not really a job description. There's probably like
hmm.
kind of an area, right? But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Levi's crushing it. He's doing content. He's also helping Maddie with shipping. He's also doing like some website stuff and starting to like run the laser, but they're all related. Same with
yeah,
Isaiah, where it's like he can run the machine, he can help me finish, profile parts, he can
yeah,
help build sheaths, and there's usually a few things going on at
yeah,
once. But if I get bottlenecked somewhere and that workflow stops, they're not self contained at this point.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like changing. It's just interesting going like having this a productive output and a creative output
Hmm.
is really tricky for me. Like I don't know how people do it better than what I'm
That
doing.
that is, I can totally concur. That's a huge battle for me. Is there's the spreadsheets, the production, the Kanban, the getting employees
Yeah.
set up with the right tooling, getting this program modified to not do this XYZ. When also it's like, oh, I got to design something. It's oh yeah, that's
The
tough.
design one is really
Yeah,
a wild card
yeah.
in there, especially like for you and me, where we're both, it's like we have this ability to generate passive income and also just like keep the connections open. I love my production collabs, right? My ideal scenario for production collabs is that I'm actually prototyping new models,
Hmm.
right? That is becomes more difficult because
Yeah,
now you have like this more consistent workflow, and it's hard to find time to be like, okay, I'm gonna like go make something completely random. So what I'm hoping right now is that with as we get the new shop up and running, that I can start to pull some of that time back. I don't know if it's a pipe dream, but that's like
hmm.
that's where my head's at
I
right
think you
now.
can. I think you can. I,
Yeah.
I feel like I've started to earn a lot more of that time back. For a good couple years, I had no time for that. We just had too many fires. But it started to feel like I have that time in most weeks. I could set aside a day, so it's starting to come back.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I have, really good employees that are awesome. They're have learned enough now where they can self start. I can I
Right.
can answer questions, but like they have the tools, and so it's just you have to kind of carve that out and build them up, and eventually, yeah, it can be done.
I'll tell you what, that the self-starting thing is really critical. I had kind of in my head, I realized I'm like self-start or no start. It's like there's not a place with us for someone who is not a self-starter. So that would be
Hmm.
if anybody's listening and you're like trying to get into an industry that is similar to ours, whatever that may be, like it could be like someone building custom cars or like a gunsmith, or the way that you make yourself most valuable is by like seeing the things that we're not telling you to do.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like little
Exactly.
stuff. It's like, dude, inside of a shop environment, it's like, is a trash full? Dude,
Yep.
is somebody carrying something out to be shipped? Is it's like one,
Yeah.
you're just thoughtful and polite. Two, you look at it as an ecosystem, right? It's like tribe
Yeah.
rules. It's like everybody
Yeah.
carries their weight. Everybody tries to see where they can help the system.
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
if you are only focused on the one job that you have and then are needing someone to tell you the next thing, like obviously you need to be taught and you need to be told when there's like a job shift or like a priority, but there's
Yeah.
always something to do,
Yeah.
right? And this is not even to say like don't like I worked in welding shops when I was a kid, and like there was like this mentality of like, walk fast and look worried. I hate that. Like I don't want people
Hmm.
in I want people to feel comfortable, like, dude, take a break when you need a break, eat food when you
Yeah.
need food. Like it's common sense rules, right?
Hmm.
I'm not like counting down minutes, and I'm not like you need to be busy
Yeah. Well, and
every minute of the
it
day.
comes from a place of trust too, because it's
Totally.
like having the right fit of people that it's like, well, if they're taking a break, it's like, yeah, they need a break. I
You need a
trust that.
break. And
You know what I
some of the
mean?
stuff that we do is
Yeah.
like I'm always harping on like, dude, you have to take breaks, more breaks. Like, I'm I'm like, if you're on the grinder, like make sure you're going outside, like stretch your shoulders, like do this stuff. But in that also comes this thing of just like you just need to do what you need to do.
Hmm.
And after a little while, you need to be anticipating,
Yeah.
just like you see the flow,
Hmm.
like, right? So that's been an interesting one for me because I'm like I don't always know how to articulate that,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And like you and I were talking about it before we jumped on a little bit. It's like we've done every single job in our business.
Hmm.
I think I'm probably getting to a point where maybe soon that's not true. I don't even know. Maybe that's not though, man. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It just is higher levels. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're getting to a point where I could have someone helping me who has a higher skill set in
Yeah.
an area than I have,
Yeah. Yeah. You
right?
you could maybe say like, I have done that part of the job before, but
Yeah.
I was half-assing it, and
Yeah.
now I got a legit person doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Accounting
Yeah.
was like the first one that you and I have talked about, that where it's like that was the biggest shift. We're like, yeah, I did my taxes. I wasn't a CPA,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. There's a
yeah,
place
I
for
don't
that,
know.
but
That's
yeah.
kind of where we're at right now, man. Like kids are going back to school. Winston's going into kindergarten,
Mm,
which is crazy. So the boys go to the same school. It's like I think you and I are kind of excited to start back up on the pod
yeah.
now, like sensing fall and just
Yeah.
like kind of a return to, I don't know, like the seasons. It's like it is
Yeah.
our work is not seasonal, but like life is in general,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, and in some sense, I feel like our work kind of is a little bit seasonal, because
yeah.
I've noticed once we got to the point where we had a lot of capacity to
Mm-hmm.
where, because there's a point where it's like if you have very, very small capacity, seasonality is not a seasonality of demand for your product is not very
Oh,
detectable,
right. That's where we're at,
because
right? Like our
yeah,
demand is always consistent.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it's like if your ceiling is below the floor of the seasonality, you will
Yeah.
never detect the
Right.
seasonality. But for us, it's like we've scaled fast enough,
Yeah.
and especially with the bevel grinding, hiring Steven, having more capacity this year, it is now detectable that we have summer, which is, if you look at any, you just Google summer slump.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody knows it.
Anything bought on the internet is the
Right,
main thing, is going to be slower in the summer because if someone has $1,000 of discretionary income,
right.
they're going to spend it, and they're going to spend it probably on going to the beach. They're going to spend it
Yeah,
on putting fuel in their truck to pull their camper. They're going to spend it on going to
right.
the restaurant and sit out on the patio. And
Yeah.
so it's like internet is just less interesting to people when the weather is good. And
Man,
so
as it
we
should be.
yeah, which is
That's
yeah,
great.
totally reasonable. But at first that like bothered me because I was like, you look at Q4 of last year, and that's obviously
Right,
peak, especially for knives
right,
because they're a
right,
very quintessential gift for
right.
like a holiday. And so you get this really crazy spike in the winter where everyone's the super short days, they're bored, they're thinking about being outside, they're buying gifts. And then I hate the feeling of seeing demand slow down going into summer, but I've seen it 4 years in a row now.
Yeah.
I just wasn't really.
You know.
I
Yeah.
can see it and feel it, but I at the time we didn't have the capacity anyway. Now we do. But one of the things I wanted to do mentally this summer is wrap my head around the fact that this is an opportunity, because if the slower parts of our year, as far as selling knives, are the part of the year where I want to disappear in the mountains,
Yeah, that's great.
that's like a fantastic thing. The fact that the seasonality aligns, because it's like if I had a business that sold products by the seashore, and
Right.
the time when I want to have fun is the time when the demand is there.
Yeah.
That's that kind of sucks. So I'm like really happy actually about the fact that it slows down a little bit in the summer,
Yeah.
and then we get to spend the summer kind of planning for how are we going to make the Q4 effort the best
Right.
possible way. And so then days get shorter, it gets cold, it gets snotty, muddy. We don't have the best kind of winters around here. So that's where it's like
Right.
just work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to formulate a seasonal mindset to life right now. And I think it's great.
I would love to know, like, that's one area of the knife industry. Like, I always kind of harp on the fact that it's hard for new makers to know, like, what to expect financially, like, what to plan for. It's not like you can look up, like, pay scales,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And that actually has always bugged me. It's the same, like, knife companies start to be easier because, like, you can see a report, or like there's some ways to, like, kind of see that. But I would love to know, like, small shop early on. Like, I was just thinking of Timberline knives for some reason, where it's like, I in the back of my mind, I remember that I think one of the owners, like, would go to Mexico on, like, his sailboat. And I'm like, when were you doing that?
Hmm.
Right? Like, what was it? The same reason? Was it like,
Yeah,
this would have been like, I don't know what, like 80s or 90s. And it's like, was it show season was over?
yeah.
Or, like, and maybe that's the thing too, where it's like, there used to be more seasonality around shows. And now there's kind of like a show every other month. Like, you can hit
Yeah.
something, right? So you have,
Hmm.
like, CCKS is spring is, I think, February or something.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, March
Texas in
is
March.
Texas. And then,
January is SHOT
oh
Show,
yeah,
which doesn't count,
January
but
SHOT Show, but it kind of does for us, right?
yeah.
And then you've got June. There's probably something in April.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, it's a constant thing, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, creating seasonality is a good, that's probably just like a good idea.
Yeah.
I need to create space around the holidays and around summer. Like, that's
Hmm.
that's kind of what I realize, right? One thing that I'm really struggling with is, I had built for so long, I built my life to, like, not have to do things when other people were doing things, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
one, as a bartender, like, I mean, I had years of, like, just being like, I don't go out on weekends. It's crazy. And I'm working. That's when
Yeah.
I'm making money, right? But
Hmm.
we go out on a Thursday night or a Tuesday night. That rolls into being a maker, where it's like, no, I can do things midweek and avoid crowds. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's interesting now being a little more tied to, like, a work schedule, right? And also a kid's school schedule. And so I'm
Hmm.
kind of relearning, oh, I actually do have to be really intentional about things like vacations, where it used to be that I would just take time when I needed it, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's like, well, the kids are off school now, and this is between shows. Okay, we need to like
Yeah.
maximize for
Got to
that.
make it count. Yeah.
You
You
have
got
to
to
make
make
it
it
count.
count.
Yeah,
Yeah.
grown up problems.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
I'm in the same boat. Yeah. And it's good. I think the big thing that we are learning too is you have to also think about, so we've been scaling capacity pretty much all out. And you have to think about that with relation to the seasonality too, because
yeah,
what I would, if I look at basically every machine I bought, every person I hired, everything, pretty much every time it was at the awkward wrong time to do it,
yeah,
because in about February or March, we're exhausted.
yeah,
Q4 was insane, is
yeah.
really tough to keep up. And then so it's like, man, I have to hire, I have to buy this machine, I have to do something. But guess what? You have 6 months ahead of you where what the
It's going to
capacity you
slow
had
down. You would have got a natural break.
was probably adequate. Yeah, there would have been a natural break. So this year, I'm thinking about that more intentionally. That it's like we're going to get
Oh, that's good.
squeezed this Q4.
Right.
We're going to get squeezed hard because we have a lot more capacity, but overall we have a pretty strong growth trend. Even with the downturn of summer, like we still have just an overall climb.
Yeah.
And so if we go into Q4, it's the data looks like we're going to get squeezed, but I have to resist the urge. If we're going to grow and scale from a capacity standpoint, I need to actually hold the horses until about middle to late summer
Okay.
before you're trying to hire or buy or do
Or buy,
something.
but you're in that. That's the
Yeah.
thing is like now you're in that mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still saying shipping and logistics like is what you need next.
Could
Something,
be.
something in that
Yeah.
shop mom, like
Yeah.
in that mode
Yeah.
where that, especially going into the holidays, probably
Yeah.
starts to free you up a lot.
What I may be doing this year is I think we need to buy another machine,
Ooh.
which is not a huge purchase. We're looking at possibly getting the most basic model Tormach 770, like the most, they're like $11,000 brand new or like
Brand
five
new.
grand
Yeah.
used. And so, and the reason for that is purely for scheduling. Getting the Tormach right now is running a lot, pretty much all our scales and our sheets. And
Okay.
scales are Dalton, sheets are Steven. And there's
Okay.
every week there's like a little bit of like a dance of trying to get each of their work done and kind of always interfering with each other. And like it's just once you start running scales, oh shoot, we had to scrap a sheath. We can't make it again. Right. So it's just that competition right there. And what is required of a machine to make the Kydex part is so little. Like even the Tormach we have is way overkill for Kydex.
It's
And
pretty
so a
interesting.
really inexpensive, like if I could get one used, that'd be great for like 6 or 7 grand, just to alleviate the scheduling conflict of that machine would
Yeah.
be I think really good money well spent. We don't need it right now because it's summer and we're kind of cruising, but I think this winter it would help.
Yeah,
So I'm
see, but
kind
that's the
of
thing.
low
It's
key
like we're
shopping
so
that.
need based. Like a lot of times it's
Yeah,
reactive. You're like,
reactive.
oh,
Yep,
I need to fix it now, and you're like, no, you needed to fix it 6 months ago.
yep,
Like, and
yep,
then now you wouldn't be having a problem.
yep, yep.
So you've ended up on the Tormach as kind of like the solution for Kydex,
Single tool. Yeah.
single tool, and you can run a sheath
Hmm.
with that with a single tool. It does the work.
Yep. Yeah, an
Yep.
eighth
Okay.
inch end mill,
Holes are
uh,
interpolated and right.
down cut. Yeah, down cut
Yep.
end mill. You get better finishes that way, and then you go perimeter machine, interpolate all your holes. And interpolating is way better than drilling on Kydex. I found because did a lot of drilling when we had our older fixture set up, and
Uh-huh.
like a 1/4 inch drill to just punch out a 1/4 inch hole seems intuitive.
Yep.
Drills just they exert a ton of pressure.
And they
Whereas an
pull.
interpolate and they pull and
Yeah.
they bite and they like
Yep.
they just on a thin little piece of soft Kydex, it's just
Yeah.
not reliable. It's not ideal. Whereas an interpolation that goes in there, 6 or 8 thousand RPM and just beep,
Yeah.
and it's like there's no force. It's like you probably wouldn't even have to hold the material down. It's just a little and a down cut end mill, it's pushing it down
Right.
anyway. So and then also as any wear occurs or eyelets, if you're having a little bit of a tight fit or whatever, you can just tweak the tool offset to have like a little bit of a bigger hole. Whereas a drill, as soon as it starts drilling undersized, it's like a whole new drill, which is
Right.
not expensive, but it's just less
No, but
control.
it's all time. And like that's where I'm right now. I'm so used to doing things by hand. So it was interesting working through the folders this time because as I'm learning more machining, I really saw where I'm like, wow, I was leaving these folders really far away from being finished.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just seeing like the next stages where I'm like, this work is not the valuable work. This is not the value I add to making something. This
Mm-hmm.
is literally just grunt work,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I think there's a big part of that where it is like you just you let the efficient things be efficient. I think that's like thoughtful product design where like
Yeah.
spending more time on a feature that is not warranted is just a waste of
Yep.
resources, you know?
Yeah, and it always comes down to me for me is like, okay, customer gives me a dollar, how am I spending the dollar?
Yeah.
Because I want to spend the dollar on the things that they notice, that they care
Yeah.
about, that they
Yeah.
see, that
Yeah.
matter. If I
Yeah.
spend the dollar on things that I'm spending it on my own time inefficiently,
Right.
it's like they don't notice that I did, that I reamed all these holes by hand and the
Right.
machine could have done that. You know what I mean? It's like they don't
Right.
notice that. If the machine could have done it as good as me, it's not that I'm trying to save time per se, it's that I want to reallocate that time to improving the product where it counts and where they notice,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I think
Um
that's a big component of like the handmade versus CNC or however people put it, right? Like how you look at work. I think I having come from a completely handmade background and then having experience in like as I've developed processes around CNC, but also like manufacturing, like mass manufacturing, like where value is added, I think for me is different. Like something being done completely by hand doesn't add inherent value for me. Certain things done by hand do.
mhm. Yeah, which
Gunsmithing
is
is
where
like
the
a
focus
great
is.
example of this, right? Where you're like, you buy a custom 1911 and it's like, well, it might be on a production part set, but the time that someone is utilizing their hand skills on it is the thing that increases the value and upgrades the performance.
Yes. Yes,
That
and
to
it's the
me is
details.
valuable time,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I
and it,
don't want someone to like, I don't necessarily care if someone like is hand machining the frame or something. And I
yeah.
get that some people do, but it's like at a point of like, no, this is a good starting point. Now your
Mhm.
handwork really matters,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and if you think about like, let's say just a round number, like let's say we're talking about $1,000 custom folder. It's like
Right.
if you're doing it 100% by hand, there's like $800 worth of fabrication
Right.
basically,
Right.
and then like $200 worth of finishing effort.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a CNC helping you, you
Right.
can knock it down to, let's say it's $300 or $400 worth of value in the fabrication, but
Right.
now you have the opportunity to put 500 more dollars towards the finish
The
and
finishes.
towards
Dude,
the
like,
details.
you know, or Jens, like Anso, right, of Denmark. He's a great example of that, where it's like the product, it feels like a custom that he made 10 years
Yes,
ago. They're
perfect
beautiful.
example. Yeah.
Sinkovich, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sinkovich almost doesn't count. I was gonna say like the designs with like Shirogrov, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
because Sinkovich is like full custom, but like
Mm-hmm.
so many of like the Shirogrov knives have that Sinkovich influence. It's like you look and you're like, they're all different, man. Like the finishes, the materials, like they're beautiful. I've used Chris Reeve as an example of this for years and years because like to pick one up is to pick up a custom. If it wasn't just expressly said like we are like a production company kind of,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it's that time you're like, man, that is good. And that's I think that's always been my goal with it where I'm like, it's not pure volume. It's to allow me to add value where I think my skill set is.
Yes. Add
Right.
value in a calculated way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you look at two, like we're in a good example because you look at, we sell at the high end a $300 fixed blade. There
Yeah.
are quite a few $300 fixed blades out there.
Yeah.
The difference between them, we have a lot of the same materials and stuff.
Sure.
And I'm not making a value judgment that we're superior in any way. I'm just saying the difference between multiple $300 knives is, where did the $300 go in the knife?
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And so it's like, you can, before you even design a knife or do anything, you can almost think of your business model in that regard of like, I can see they're focusing their dollars over here on
Right.
this aspect. If I can economize that aspect and put the money over here, it differentiates me, and it's the same
Yeah.
materials, maybe it's the same uh, price point, but like you've economized the thing that they're so focused on and moved the money somewhere else, and then you can
Yeah.
totally differentiate. And it's like you're just playing with a value proposition, and that's kind of our whole business model is if if they're spending a lot of money and time on something that you feel like you can do efficiently, don't just take that and run and say, oh, we have better margins than them.
Right.
Take the margin and put it
Just move
somewhere
it.
else. Put it
Yeah.
somewhere
You
else.
move the
Yeah.
margin. Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, man, this stuff, it's really interesting. I don't know. It's very fun. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think, man, other thing, like you and I both always are watching kind of the overall market. Um, the last time we were like talking, I feel like we were, kind of curious about how tariffs would affect things. Obviously, like that's great. Didn't There's some areas where it's like moved it a little bit, but it
Yeah. Yeah.
wasn't like it didn't follow through with like the big shock, right?
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
else that you're seeing currently that's been interesting to you?
Um, yeah, we did. Magna Cut's no longer USA made.
Right.
That's a huge deal. It is made in, is it Sweden, I believe,
Okay. What is
and
I forget the factory that's doing it.
Era Steel.
Aerosteel. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So they purchased Crucible.
Yep.
They bought them out of the bankruptcy. I don't know if they're still making anything at Crucible, if they've rehabilitated that facility or not, but I know for a fact that MagnaCut is
Specifically.
as of the last like 4 or 5 sheets of MagnaCut we bought, it is no longer USA made.
Is Carpenter doing it too? Did it, or am I like that
They
wrong?
might be assisting Niagara in other
Okay.
ways, but MagnaCut at least.
Specifically. Okay.
Yeah, I specifically talked to Bob Shabala that the MagnaCut we
Okay.
were buying is from overseas.
Okay.
Which it's good quality stuff.
Yeah.
We've run. We brought in the sheets. I talked to Ronnie about surface grinding. Is there any difference? We've been looking at it, milling it, grinding it. Is there any difference? We haven't perceived any difference. Part of it is that Niagara is the one that still cut. Niagara receives it as an ingot, which is like I don't even know how big they
Oh,
are, but
wow.
we're talking tons.
Yeah.
And they cut it up and they roll it flat.
Yeah.
So as far as any surface on the
Process
sheet that
wise. Yeah.
we see is still Niagara, so there's no
Okay.
perceivable difference.
Right. Yeah. It would be the melt that
But
could be different, but
so that is just something notable. Um, there is the occurrence of Magnamax now, which is a new
right.
sister to MagnaCut. It is we've got a piece of it. We've run some knives with it. It is not going to be available like for actual use and purchase in volume for
Right.
probably
Yeah. You
towards the end of the
basically got
year.
some like demo steel.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Which is
it's
sick.
just a higher edge retention MagnaCut family member, so it's not a replacement unless that's the application you're going for. I think it's probably a great fit for folders. I
Yeah.
don't think it really makes sense for us because we do have to retain a degree of toughness that's pretty high
Right.
in an outdoor fixed blade. Maybe the Overland Sport could appear in Magnamax, and we'd kind of make sure people understand that like if this is a true EDC knife and you're not batoning, I'm not
Right.
saying Magnamax isn't tough. I'm just saying it's more
Well, and you just
of an
don't know.
edge
We don't know
retention.
yet. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just they're pursuing like the more M390 end of the edge
Right.
retention, but M390 really struggles in the toughness side. So they're
Right.
trying to keep that MagnaCut balance of like a respectable toughness, but pushing on
Yeah.
the edge retention, which I think is cool. I think it's probably going to be a folder steel of folder steels
Yeah.
if it
This stuff, I
is
mean,
what they
so
say.
much of this, it's like, man, I still have, like older steels, non-super steels that I really like. It's fun. I think it's fun. It creates like just optionality where you can
Yeah,
kind of
I
take
still
it
love
to the
A2.
nth. But like, yeah, man. But like, so
Yeah.
we're at a point where our steels are just so good.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
really function well. Um,
Yeah.
okay, that's steel related. You're wearing a Work Sharp hat. We're both
Yeah.
kind of consider ourselves like friends of the brand, I guess.
Hmm.
They've come
Hmm.
on super hard with their knife line, which has been awesome to see. It seems like they're going about it in a really interesting way, which is they're going after building community, which is smart. They've got a really good Facebook group. They're being super transparent in kind of the process and really engaging. It's
Mm,
actually been really fun to watch.
yeah. Yeah, it's
You
cool
can
they came
see
out
some of the,
swinging. And
yeah, right.
I
Like
mean, a
it just
brand
came
like
out
that
hard.
could have mailed it in. They could
Yep.
have you would
You would
expect
almost
a brand
expect,
like
right?
that,
Yeah.
yeah, to just come in very lukewarm with like it's just a knife that has the hot button materials that has our colors and logo. Like you would just kind
Yep.
of, but they came in with engineering solutions that nobody'd seen before. They came in with shapes and form factors that are unique. It's like they
Yeah.
just they act
And
like
like
a knife
risky. Some
company.
of the stuff they're doing is like they're doing what they want to do.
Hmm.
And that to me is always impressive, right? Because you
Hmm.
could, in between mailing it in and doing what they're doing, are like safer bets also,
Yeah, yeah.
right? They are actually like taking risks, experimenting. The one of the most interesting things to me has just been seeing how they're actually approaching like the engineering. Like I sent you that the sharpening fixture they have where it's like an
Hmm.
articulated
Hmm.
arm. I mean, that stuff is, I mean, they're spending time on, to quote my good friend, the process is the product. Like they are spending
uh,
so much time on the process of how those knives are built that it's really, really
yeah,
freaking cool.
yeah. I love it. Yeah,
So,
because they're, I
yeah,
mean, they're just the products they make. I mean, in hindsight, yes, it makes sense that they would do it right like this because you look at their other products on the sharpening side, and
right.
they're to go to that value proposition conversation where they're like packing innovation in, which is huge, but putting the money where it matters because they're
Yeah,
like those guided stone sharpeners that they do.
yeah,
They came into a market that it used to be, it was like this was a $500 sharpener.
right.
If you wanted a true guided stone sharpener, like at least
Or if
250.
not much
And
more than that, I would say like
yeah,
what, yeah, like 500
thousands.
to 1500 for
Yeah.
like the super premium ones.
Yeah, even like a Lansky or what's the other one? Not the Lansky. There was one I had anyway, I think I spent
Yeah, there's
$250 on
Lansky,
it.
Wicked Edge. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
that was
there's
kind of the
another one.
deal.
But yeah, then they come in and it's like look at the injection molding they did. Look,
Yeah,
they put aluminum where you needed aluminum, they injection molded where you didn't need it, and
yeah,
they just packed the features in and the price point. I recommend their sharpeners to like everyone because I get
yeah,
asked a lot like how should I sharpen I bought a knife from you, how should I sharpen it? Right here. And it's like
yeah.
they just do it. I like them.
Yeah, they really do hit that like value proposition. It's thoughtful, you
Hmm.
know. It's like the everyman sharpener you can get in really inexpensive, and that's the thing. It's like I'm sure a lot of their current customer base even can like, you know, as you see prices change, it's like you're like, oh, that's expensive. But in relation to a lot of what's on the market, it's like
Yeah,
very
yeah,
affordable and like very good
yeah.
value. So yeah, I'm just excited to see where it goes. I mean, we see different brands do things with knives, and if you're not, it's interesting because Worksharp is knife industry but knife adjacent, and now as they're bringing in knives, like I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, you guys are doing it in like a knifey way. You're not doing
Yeah.
it in a super corporate like slap a logo on a
Yeah, give
production
us some
model.
SKUs. Yeah.
Yeah, get us some
We need
SKUs.
knife SKUs. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're doing
Yeah.
things in a way where it's like, oh, you might mess up. Like you probably have run into some problems already. And that's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
I
awesome.
I recently had a revelation that like the word skew is a
Yeah.
dangerous word. Uh,
Ooh.
it's I thought a lot like I was thinking about our business model and stuff, and I was thinking about a lot of people will say, and I'm not. I hope I don't come across critical at all in any way, but like a lot of people will say, like we want a skew here, we want this to be a
Right.
few more SKUs. It makes sense from a practical standpoint. Like in a larger company, like you're talking about SKUs when you're talking about different products,
Yeah.
and it's like, but that almost this looking at it from a SKU standpoint, it's like you're looking at numbers, not products
Right.
inherently. And
Right.
it's like, I don't know, it's not that the word itself has that much power, but like it comes from a place of possibly overlooking some core things. And I look at someone like Worksharp that makes knives like that.
Right.
And I'm not saying they didn't use that word for sure. I'm just saying that like they didn't look at it from the spirit of like we just need SKUs. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
looked at
No,
it
no, no, no,
from
no. That's spot on. It's hard. Doing things the
yeah,
hard way is hard. Like,
yeah,
So
mm-hmm,
I guess
mm-hmm,
that, I don't know. That's one of the more fun things that I've seen kind of recently. Um, yeah. And other than that, man, like custom market, like you said earlier, demand around some of these products is not indicative of the market as a whole because there's always a solid demand for the things that are limited. I
mm-hmm,
think overall
mm-hmm.
knife industry, like still down. Summer's hard to tell,
Yeah,
but it's good seeing like good people do good things and,
yeah,
you know, movement. It's all you can ask
yeah.
for.
Yeah, there is a we've said it before, but there is an overall softening, probably
Yeah.
macroeconomic and a lot of things, but like there's the summer that I'm noticing, but I'm also noticing probably macro as
Right.
well. So
Yeah.
things are going good. I think for a lot of people, things are satisfactory. You know what I
Right.
mean? But like it's different. It's not the frenzy like we've
Yeah.
seen in other eras.
Yeah. And that's always like my goal is like never rely on the boom time as like the indicator. It's like I
Hmm.
try to average, man. Like
Yep.
I want I want consistency, I want
Yeah.
growth, but I don't want lottery, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you do get
You,
that, it's like you use it like that,
yep.
right? You're like,
Yep.
ooh, windfall. How can I make the
Hmm.
most of this windfall and not expect it to continue?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Right.
all and yeah, for us looking at the seasonality in the summer, it's like I don't want summer to be survival mode.
Yeah, that's great.
I can make it be survival mode if I
Yeah.
scale to where we can meet Q4 demand with ease.
Yeah.
That feels pretty good in Q4
Yeah.
in December when you're like, holy cow, we can fulfill we can feed every mouth.
Right.
Anybody that wants one, we're here.
Yep.
That means you might be a little overproducing. You know what I mean? Because summer is
Yep.
not going to be like this. So if Q4 is not a strain, I think to me that's going to be a tell that like you have too much capacity. You got to be
Ooh, that's
careful.
okay. So that's a great, dude. I think we wrap it on that, but that's like a solid indicator. So coming through the summer, it's like for all of us, we're probably done with some shows, or if you're on the production side, maybe you're running a little bit slower. What are the indicators in your business right now that allow you to make some decisions for the rest of the year? And how do you avoid like overdoing it too?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Cool. Dude, this felt good, man. I look forward to let's just start to try to get back on some kind of normalist schedule.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you guys for
Very
all the
much enjoy that.
feedback. Walking around the show, one of the reasons we're doing this today was just like so many people coming up and asking about the pod or like giving feedback or
Yeah.
like telling us somewhere that it helped or it really means a lot to us. And that's why we're doing this, So thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
thanks, thanks for hanging
appreciate you
out.
guys and I appreciate your patience. If you're
Yeah.
listening to this, that means you were willing to step aside for 3 months and then come back. So
Yeah.
if you're here, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, man. Have a good day, you guys. We will see you around. Leave us a comment. Let us know if you want us to like dive into anything, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.